Today I want to deep dive into Coraline and go a completely different direction from my other theories. Hey there, friends and family members, it's McGann. Welcome to the Fangirl, a series that has got to have done over 40 Coraline videos at this point. By the way, mail me those Coraline questions and I'll do my best to take your specific question and make it into a video explained within a theory. Sound good? Awesome, because you guys want more and more Coraline videos and I would love your input on what to deliver on. So, are you ready for a Coraline counter theory that just completely throws away my previous work? Great! Well, today's counter theory was inspired by the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror number 28, I think? So many of those now. But it was the one with the incredibly well done Coraline segment. During that mini episode, Neil Gaiman himself shows up to voice Snowball the Black Cat, and he remarks that
sometimes tiny doors lead to big opportunities.
You could talk?
Indeed. For centuries, the cat has been the symbol of intelligence, the other world, savoir-faire. Oh, shiny!
And at the time he said this, the other world hadn't been introduced into that episode yet, so it really got me thinking about Coraline differently. Now, let me pause for a second and make sure we all understand that the Coraline book and movie are two totally different universes. I tried for about a year to make them combine together and work as one thing, but they're just way too different. There are just too many contradictory issues to where you have to look at the movie and the book separately, and you can't use answers from one to try to explain issues in another. You might find a little clue for what the director was thinking when he did a certain this or that, but overall they just don't work as one continuity. But I think most of us hear otherworld as a direct statement that this is not the real world, it's a different world, it's the other world. However, the term otherworld has a deeper significance in a number of cultures. In some places, it's a reference to the afterlife, and it's really common to have to cross a river to gain entrance into the other world. And it's also typical for an old man to transport the soul across said river. Okay, so that doesn't really fit in with Coraline, or wait. Actually, when Coraline enters the other world, she does so via a tunnel, but it's not this random pathway that happens to be cylindrical. Even though the tunnel looks like it's made of fabric, it has this very flowing quality to it, and the coloring is blue and other cooler colors. In fact, the colors are so interesting. It's almost like that lighting is being diffused through water, and the pinkish purplish tones on the top half of the tunnel almost look like sunset colors. So symbolically, that tunnel is Coraline in the water as the sun is going down, meaning she's dying. Now, if that isn't a strong enough connection for you, let's back up and look at the theorizer's bigger discovery from the Coraline theories, that the tunnel and the well are pretty much the same pathway. So the tunnel to the other world being connected to water has been around pretty much since Coraline theories began. And Coraline is actually Greek for the coral of the sea. So Coraline itself is a water-related name. The symbology for water in this movie is just all over the place. Alright, fangirl, if Coraline's dead, then what about the old man that has to transport the soul? Well, you're right, we don't see any old man. Initially, we get that tiny mouse whose age isn't really defined because who cares, he's a mouse. But while the mouse is all cute and perky in the beginning, the cat actually shows us later that they're ugly old rats, so yeah. Then, when the adventure is becoming its most dangerous, the black cat leads Coraline into the other world for the final time. But how old is that cat? I mean, he's awfully haggard looking and he's definitely not a kitten, but he's not quite an old man either. Keith David, the actor who voiced the black cat, was roughly 52 when Coraline came out, so he's not super old either. But then again, is there any defined age for an old man? I don't know if there's an official response, but if you're 11 like Coraline looking at somebody in their 50s, yeah, that's an old guy to you. Or if we look at the context that some of this folklore is hundreds to thousands of years old, well, people lived a lot shorter lifespans, so 52 would be pretty old back then. So I think the fact that the black cat isn't voiced by some young Hollywood up-and-comer is somewhat significant. It could mean something, or at least we could argue that point. And actually, if you want to get technical, at the beginning of the movie, Coraline is standing on this old well, i.e. a body of water, and the cat is there along with Wybie, who is constantly wringing his hands and rubbing his neck looking down like he's got this secret he doesn't know how to reveal. I just always feel like Wybie's up to something because he looks so guilty from the first minute we see him. Another detail I'd like to draw your attention to is Coraline's mother, Mel. Despite the subtle belief that Mel is wearing a turtleneck, the movie actually shows us several times that she's wearing a neck brace. Not only do we see this when Coraline makes up her fake parents out of the pillows, but then Coraline and Mel have this quick back and forth where Coraline's like, "It's not my fault you got in that wreck," and she's very bitter about it, even though that never circles back in to have any significance to the story. But maybe that's the last piece of the puzzle we need to make this theory work. If Coraline was in the car during this really bad car wreck that injured her mother's spine, that would put Coraline in a very unique situation. The reason that her parents are so stressed out, unhappy, and exhausted is not because of their work. It's because their daughter is fighting for her life in the hospital. Okay, fangirl, but that doesn't work because Coraline's parents moved from Michigan to Oregon at the beginning of the movie. Why would they ever do that if their child is fighting for her life? Well, what if that wreck happened while the Joneses were on their way to Oregon? Or it happened while they were in Oregon on vacation or looking for a place to live? I mean, the movers and the Jones family arrive at the Pink Palace at the exact same time, and I have moved many times with the army, so I know for a fact that most moving companies are days to weeks behind you. Even Inside Out showed the headaches of having movers and them never showing up on time. And I checked it out. Ashland, Oregon, where the Pink Palace resides, is only a few miles away from the Asante Community Hospital, which is connected to the Children's Miracle Network, which provides funding to children's hospitals. So, if Coraline was injured while moving or while visiting Ashland, it would make sense for Coraline to stay in an Oregon hospital. And all of this might also help to explain why the family is so broke. Sure, most writers aren't known to be rich, but actually Charlie's the writer and Mel is an editor, and editors can work for many different people and usually have a fairly comfortable lifestyle, so it's pretty odd that the Jones family seems to be so dirt poor. Also keep in mind that Coraline never meets her other neighbors until after she enters the other world. And her neighbors are these two extremely sick old ladies with gammy legs, no hair, and other issues. Then upstairs in the attic, we have a blue-skinned Russian individual who, let's be honest, doesn't look like he's among the living. The medal he's wearing was actually given to people who cleaned up at Chernobyl, and radiation poisoning does not turn you blue, I'm sorry, it just kind of kills you. Plus, if Barefoot Game taught me anything, it's that radiation poisoning leads to things like hair loss. And Mr. Bobinski kinda looks patchy in that department, doesn't he? Even his mustache is awful. I have never felt convinced that any of the Pink Palace residents are still alive, or at least not physically up and mobile forms of alive. They're like spirits, and they're literally haunting the place in one sense or another. So if that's the case, the other mother might be a symbol for Satan or Hades, or does Limbo have a leader? Well, I don't know, but she could be this ruler of an afterlife type of place, and she's trying to strike a deal with Coraline, not because she loves her or loves children, but so that Coraline will stop clinging to life and give the other world a new soul. That's why the beldam looks like Coraline's mother, and she's so desperate to keep her in the other world, yet she can't really force Coraline to stay either. It has to be a choice. So this entire movie could really be a coma situation. It could sum up to Coraline balancing between life and death, trying to decide which one she belongs in now. And that could also nicely cover why we go from President's Day to spring in just a few days. It's because we're in this crazy half-alive world where Coraline's floating in this limbo space, and she's picking up on things going on around her, like, oh, it's President's Day between the nurses and something like that, but she's not actually aware that she isn't in the real world. world. So while Coraline drifts in and out of consciousness as she balances back and forth between the real world and the other world, time is moving in all these wibbly wobbly ways. Leica says the smallest details tell the biggest story, and that's really how I try to run this channel. But that also means that the car wreck and the neck brace are really weird details to put into that movie. I mean, we don't see the wreck, it's only briefly mentioned, and it's not like Mel doesn't have enough going on between work and moving to be stressed about. She has plenty enough other reasons to be crabby without having to add something else on top of the pile. So I've always wondered what story that detail was trying to give us. I mean, even on a technical sense, having to animate those lines and make the tiny little neck brace for no good reason, what's the point if there is no point? It's a lot of work if there's no point to it. But think about it, if the person driving the car in that wreck has an airbag and they still end up with a neck brace, what might have happened to a child sitting in the backseat of a car as small as a VW Beetle? I used to own a 2004 New Beetle, and it was horrible to have kids in it because the back seats were so tight that you couldn't even buckle in a car seat that was rear facing without the whole thing trying to flip over. It was not safe for kids. So with Mel and Charlie having that specific car and those seats back there being so itty bitty and tight, that could easily equate to somebody in a car wreck getting a head injury or worse. Yeah, I agree. This theory is pretty sad and it detracts a lot from the movie. Plus, I know I'll get 1,000 comments about how you guys hate these coma theories. It's just so lazy, fangirl. I wrote 7 pages of this out to try and rationalize it. It's not lazy, it's a possibility. But overall, just think of this theory as one more possibility to consider while watching this very fascinating film. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Hey there, family members! I don't have fantastic derps today, but I'm gonna show off my kitty because he's so cute and I want to get him on film while he's so cute. Yes, you purr, you gorgeous king among men. You are a smexy kitty, which means smelly sexy, because kittens have gas, yo. Stay here! Stay here, little baby. Sit with me. Be my co-host. We found him at a flea market and he was so cute and he was so sickly and he's doing pretty good now. He couldn't even lift his head up when we got him. He was so flea infested. He is unofficially a Siamese. He just kind of looks like a Siamese, no papers or anything. Obviously, he's a flea market kitty. And we don't really know his name yet. We're kind of in between a few, trying him out. So he'll either be Leon Kittedy, like Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, or Avocado, as in Leocado, or maybe Keanu. I don't know yet. I swear he's been lifting his head up and acting fine. He's just like being a lazy moocher right now. No, mommy, hold me, hold me. Mama's gonna make you your own Instagram account because you're so pretty. He's a messy eater, but he's a sweetheart. We think he's about 6 weeks old, but I forgot to ask the farmer guy that had him. I was so excited to see a little measer kitty that I totally lost track of all the important questions. Super kitty, doo-doo-doo-doo. Oh, but you're so nice. I love you so much. No, stay where I need you to. Well, I guess that's it, guys. Thanks for derping with us today. Can you do the kiss? Can you do the kiss too? Mwah! You gotta look while you do it. Mwah! Oh my gosh, I love this cat. Can you hear him? You're so happy. If you would lay down, we could continue. Down you go. No, 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 no. Kitty, kitty. I love the kitty though. Who am I kidding? You're only a moderate irritant, but I can't let you on this shirt because it's very expensive and very prone to cat clawing, you understand? Why are you acting like you can't hold your head now? I have made you a strong, independent man, cub cat. You are a pretty boy. No, you can't be. No! Stop it! You're so cute, I don't want to tell you no! That's all I want is for you to sit on your blanket. He meows and no sounds come out. Buddy. Oh, no, no, no. Okay, you can go down. Boop. Cats. Or if we look at the context of folklore being, or if we look at the context of some of this, or if we look at the The medal he's wearing is actually from Chernobyl cleanup, so what? Hello? Open the door, what do you want? Come on, let's get it over with. Come. Oh, you can't have one of those. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.